Hey all, and welcome to Shadow Space, and we are commenting on another BCP video. This one is called Walgreens Executives Drop Receipts on Black Residents Crying Over Store Closing Due to Shoplifting. This was uploaded May 15th. This is being recorded May 16th, and link is in the description.
Walgreens should be charged with first-degree corporate abandonment.
Yes.
It should be a crime the way they're treating our elders.
Yes.
It should be a crime the way they're treating our families.
A Walgreens spokesperson responding with this statement in part, quote, despite a range of efforts including previous operating adjustments, these ongoing safety challenges made it increasingly difficult to maintain a secure environment for our team members and customers.
Yep, that's what they said.
Community members, leaders, and families rallied, saying the loss of this Walgreens at 86th and Cottage
Oh,
Grove
it didn't happen,
won't
does
just
it?
close a
Because
store, it
I'm
will
literally
take away
watching footage of a whole bunch of people coming in here, taking a bunch of stuff
a
and just
critical
leaving.
lifeline.
We're not here
Backpacks
to
full of
beg
stuff.
Walgreens
Like,
to
come
stay.
on.
We're saying that their decision
Oh,
is the
we don't see it. It must not be happening because we don't see it. This is, you don't believe this when white people sit there and say, well, we don't see the racism, where is it? And yet you expect them to believe you when you do it about this.
wrong decision. And in my opinion, it should be considered a first-degree corporate crime.
Yes.
Because the amount of people that will be hurt by this, the amount of elders that will not have access to health care is evil.
Walgreens says the store is closing due to safety concerns, including theft and violence. But residents say that doesn't match what they see day to day.
The lie that they're
Oh, you mean this guy in this vest getting beat up by these other two guys? Wow.
telling us is it's a health or a loss prevention issue.
Oh,
When
those are
12th and
security.
State Street had loss prevention, they redesigned. Again, this neighborhood is not broke.
The nearest pharmacy will soon be more than a mile.
Boy. So, we got to follow up on our coverage of the Walgreens in Chicago that is shutting down due to crime and shoplifting. Now, last time we talked about this story, the black residents of that neighborhood, including an alderman, somebody who is in charge of making decisions, was straight up demanding that the executives responsible for closing down the Walgreens be charged, right? Criminally charged for closing down the store. And now you have the executives responding. They hosted a town hall because this is now going viral. It's
Which
a national news
was
story.
one of my points in the previous video on this were, was it actually corporate that was shutting it down, and was it actually crime?
They are hosting a town hall in Chicago where they're going to drop receipts on why is it that they closed the store, because the black residents did not believe that crime was that bad, right? They didn't believe that Walgreens was actually losing money.
See, but this is what happens when violence like that gets normalized. You see it happening all around you, and you're just numb to it. You don't even care that it's happening.
Due to all of the shoplifting. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
Walgreens is revealing some of the specific financial problems that prompted it to close a longtime location on Chicago's South Side. That announcement that the Walgreens at 86 and Cottage Grove will close on June 4th has prompted a major backlash among customers and Chatham residents.
I'm here today because we're closing the store on 86 and Cottage Grove. But I just want to make sure everyone understands, closing stores are not
This is a black man who is the Walgreens regional vice president, who has to come down here and explain to these other uppity black people about why they're having to close this store.
go. It's the last resort.
A trio of Walgreens executives, including
Look at how few people there are. No one cares. This is such a non-issue.
The manager of the soon-to-be-closed store explained the company's controversial decision at a community forum hosted by State Senator L.G. Sims.
But if this decision is not going to be reversed, what we want is to understand what is next for this community.
Earlier this week, Walgreens announced the closing of its store at 86 in Cottage Grove, which has served the Chatham community for more than 20 years, creating what many residents are calling a prescription desert and a continued disinvestment in the black community. Today, the Walgreens executives revealed
By other black people. It's not white
that
people.
store lost more than $1 million last year, partly due to declining prescription sales, but also a massive amount of store theft.
Wow. 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 Incredible. They've lost $1 million over the past year. So they're losing $1 million a year, and the woke black activists believe that they should just stay open into perpetuity.
Well,
right?
See, because this, I believe, is what they think, is that Walgreens corporate, their function should be to take the money from the successful Walgreens businesses and funnel it directly into these struggling Walgreens franchises. They basically want it to act like a government redistribution welfare system, where the successful Walgreens are forced to give up their savings to give to these Walgreens that are losing all this money.
$1 million a year. No, you got to stay open. Now, I'm not entirely sure where these black activists believe that money comes from, right? That
it comes from the billionaires, obviously.
You can't fork up $1 million a year to keep this store open. That when you lose that amount of money, that is very costly. That's not sustainable, right?
Yeah, but the billionaires that own the Walgreens franchise, they have enough money to be able to cover it. So they should just do that.
Have to shut down when you lose that amount of money. So as I said in my original video, I said it's probably a combination of things, right? It's probably a combination of the fact that when you're operating in these low-income neighborhoods, a lot of these individuals are dependent on Medicaid and they're dependent on the government to pay for their prescriptions, and these companies don't make that much money off of that, right? They don't make that much money dealing with the government, okay? And when you combine that with the shoplifting, that is probably why the store is going under, right? So their prescription sales are down, okay? And on top of that, they're experiencing massive shoplifting. That is how you get to $1 million in losses per year, okay? That these black activists believe that Walgreens should just eat it, right? Just eat it because black people are entitled to have a Walgreens.
Because they think that there are enough Walgreens locations that are successful that they should be able to funnel money into this in perpetuity, forever.
Right? They're entitled to have a store that's
because
less than
the wealthy people will never run out of wealth. They have an infinite amount of wealth, so you can always just claw and take from them because they will never run out.
A mile from where they live, right? That's walking distance from where they live. And let's be honest, that's what they're complaining about, because there are other Walgreens, there are other stores, there are other pharmacies that are within, a mile, maybe 2 miles away from.
You look at how many people are here. There are so many people at this protest than there were at that town hall meeting.
From these residents, but because they live in a big city, again, they feel like they're entitled to having a place that they can just walk to, right? So it's not like they actually live in a food desert or in a pharmaceutical desert, whatever you want to call it. No. They're just so entitled that they're upset that, hey, well, it's not walking distance anymore, right? You actually got to drive to go get your prescription.
Again, there's absolutely nothing that would stop this from just turning into a pharmacy that wasn't owned by Walgreens.
Drugs, okay? So that's the real issue here that these people are upset with.
There are ways to solve this without them saying that you're just completely ignoring.
10%. That's 4 times above the company average.
Wow.
Lock boxes help us protect the merchandise in the stores. A lot of the times those lock boxes are getting destroyed, and that's a great cost to the company.
It's like when you lock things behind a cage, they just smash open the cage. Again, you think they have to open up the whole door? No. Wire cutters. cut through, bend the wires back, grab it, and I'm gone. It does nothing. It's useless. You keep them in some room in the back. I just kick open the door. It's just a deadbolt, depending on how much it's lodged in the wall.
Say Walgreens was spending about $400,000 a year for security guards in the store, but there were still attacks on store employees.
We had people jump across the counters because we do sell liquor behind the counter.
Wow.
Taking liquor, cigarettes, things of that.
Well, we didn't see it. This isn't happening. He must be making this up because we're members of the community and we've never seen this before.
That wears down, not just from the financial piece. I'm more so speaking from just the endurance of that day in and day out.
Yeah, it's not safe. You talk about your employees being attacked.
Right, I mean, at that point, you might as well take in, like, your daily shipments of, like, your groceries and stuff and just dump it all in front of the store and not even bother stocking it, not even bothering, because you know that these people are just going to come in and steal it. Why bother?
This man said, he's black, by the way, right? So there's a black store manager, a black executive. He said, look, you got people jumping across the counter for cigarettes and liquor, right? We can't operate in that type of environment. That's just not a strain on us financially, but it's also a strain mentally.
See, but they want it to happen. They think that if those young kids want cigarettes and beer, that they should be able to just hop back there and take it. I don't know. Peak culture.
Right?
Peak culture is going to the store and just taking what you need.
With this kind of abuse, right? From thugs and criminals that Chicago, the politicians, woke Mayor Brandon Johnson, who's running the city, refuses to lock up. They refuse to deal with these people, right? So
it's not a problem. He doesn't care.
It's not just a financial issue. It's also a safety
he wants it
issue.
to happen.
It is legitimately unsafe to operate in these neighborhoods.
The store on 75th and State for years did not sell liquor. So why can't that happen here if that is a problem on 86? Why can't you just stop selling liquor?
Walgreens is encouraging
They'd just steal something else.
people to use the nearest Walgreens store a little more than a mile away and has sent letters and emails to customers explaining how they can have their prescriptions sent by mail.
For a lot of seniors, there's some solutions that have been put in place immediately with free delivery that has.
DoorDash. I don't know if they can do that. I don't know if they have like a drugs or like a pharmacy division. Just have someone go and get them.
Started already for those medications that you may have that under the law that can be delivered.
So to close it in a community that is filled with senior citizens is a disservice to us. I don't drive. Having to go cross town to get my medicine.
So these people should be slaves. To come in here every day, to have to deal with abuse, to have to deal with people literally just treating the store like it's their own personal property. Probably afraid a lot of the time, probably don't want to come into work because they don't know. They could get a gun pulled on them, but you don't care because it's inconvenient to you.
An inconvenience.
Wow.
Now, Walgreens has 115 stores in the city of Chicago, but is closing.
It's amazing how much all of these people just advocate slavery. It's amazing.
Part of a nationwide plan to close 1,200 stores over the next 3 years.
Wow. So apparently having to go across town to get their prescription drugs, which, by the way, means 1 mile away, right? Having to go a mile away.
Well, see, no. They're still closing. It doesn't matter. The protest, standing out in the corner, doing all this stuff, didn't do anything. They're closing anyways.
Apparently it's such
what
a
did it do?
disaster. It's such an inconvenience. It's such a big problem that Walgreens should just stay open at this location and lose $1 million, right? Just so that these residents don't
potentially lose employees. Just because it hasn't gotten violent doesn't mean that it won't or it can't. Look at that deli worker in New York. You don't know.
Drive or walk more than a mile to get their prescriptions. Yeah, these are first world problems, but the reality is that if these individuals are so mad, they're so upset with Walgreens, they need to direct that anger first and foremost at the criminals, right? Direct it at the criminals, and then direct it at the politicians who allow the criminals to commit these crimes without any punishment.
See,
right?
But if you solve the criminals, then the second problem corrects itself. If criminals don't commit crime, then you don't need laws to punish criminals for breaking the law.
Right? Because that's the real reason why this is happening. Okay? That's the real reason why this is happening. This is a result of soft on crime politicians. This is a result of bad policies. This is a result of the black community not having their priorities in line. And when you don't have your priorities in line, when you're allowing criminals to wreak havoc in these neighborhoods, to steal to the point where these businesses can't survive, then there are consequences. You're going to have less jobs. You're going to have less opportunities. Things are not going to be as convenient, right? You're not going to have a Walgreens down the street, right, that you can just walk to. It is what it is. Couldn't survive, right? Couldn't survive. So maybe, just maybe, focus on voting for politicians and voting for policies that are going to create an environment that is safe for businesses like Walgreens to operate in. And that way, that's less of an excuse for them to leave. Because best believe...
Well, because, like, the one woman, her thing was, well, why don't you just stop selling liquor? If liquor sells well a lot at that store, then they can't.
They were making $1 million a year, they would stay, right? They were turning a profit, they would stay.
Well, again, that's not entirely true. If you had a business, even if it was a profitable business, in a place where the people were getting robbed every day, like, would you continue to keep it open?
It's because they're not turning a profit.
You wouldn't protect your employees?
Unsafe, that is why they're leaving. It's really that simple. So, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share.
I don't know. I definitely did not side with the people. I sided... It's a financial decision. If they can't afford to keep it open, then they're going to shut it down. Even if there isn't crime. Doesn't matter. I guess to your point, right? If they're making enough to make ends meet, then it doesn't matter. You talk about how you're elderly. Okay, well, if it's difficult for you to get out, then you're probably not going to go out to this Walgreens. You probably aren't going to pick up extra stuff. You're probably going to go, you're probably going to get your prescriptions, and you're just going to leave. So, you aren't really supporting the business, you're just using it. If you were supporting the business, you would not only buy your prescription, but you would buy some candies or something cheap just because you can buy it, just because you're out to support the business. No. I mean, maybe they do, maybe they don't, I don't know. You can't just use them for their function. Especially when they're being harmed somehow, and then think that they're just going to be able to continue to do what they're doing. I mean, like the one guy said, there are so many other solutions that aren't just keeping that store open. That if they don't want to stay open, then they don't have to, and they're not going to.